Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Alwyn here. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. As always, couple stimulus updates today and news related updates, so let's get right into those. So the House of Representatives has voted to impeach President Donald Trump for inciting insurrection at the Capitol. That has left 5 people dead, cementing his place in history as the only president in history to be impeached twice, not once, but twice. Many are complaining that the politicians should focus on the stimulus package instead of spending their time on impeaching President Trump. As of yesterday, the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, addressed this issue in a letter which he sent to his fellow Democrats, which we'll get to. President Trump is refusing to apologize for the DC riots that occurred last week. He referred to this impeachment proceedings against him as the greatest witch hunt in politics. Before leaving for Texas yesterday, President Trump told reporters for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue on this path because it will cause tremendous danger and anger within our country. Chuck Schumer sent out a letter to his Democrats outlining the agenda. He said that the first order of legislative business is to address state and local aid, vaccine distribution, and the third round of stimulus checks. He specifically mentioned the third stimulus check, saying that we will get that done. The Georgia newly elected senators will have to be sworn in and situated. Additionally, they must wait until President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration takes place on January 20th. The Senate then will be able to go ahead and act on any form of legislation. Senator Schumer faces opposition from Congress members who are strictly against a third stimulus check. These politicians include Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who has, like I said in the past, repeatedly stated that the stimulus checks are going to people who do not need them. People who are making six figures, over $100,000 a year, and they are not stimulating the economy when they spend the money because they are investing the money, they are saving the money, they're using the money to pay off debts and not going towards small businesses, not actually going back into the economy and circulating within the economy at a faster pace to ultimately do its purpose in stimulating the entire global economy. The majority of Republican senators, they share the same thoughts as Senator Joe Manchin, and they believe that the bill is untargeted, it is unnecessary, and is going to people who do not need the money. Representative Kevin Brady said that many of the people receiving these checks would just put their money into savings, or they would just go on a shopping spree. Okay, now keep in mind, if they just put it in a savings, if they just stash the money under their bed, not very useful, because the money is not being used to propel other businesses, right? One person's spending is another person's income. So the moment somebody stops spending, that means somebody else is not earning, which means that person cannot go ahead and spend, which means that person cannot spend their money because they're not earning anything. So that process, that loop will continue. And that's going to be a problem because it's not going to stimulate the economy. Whereas, if they are going on a shopping spree, that's good because they are spending their money on consumer goods, consumer products, and that will help small businesses. Then there will be essentially trickle up, we call them trickle down economics essentially, but the opposite. It's going, starting from the bottom, starting with the people, funding the people, and that's going to go to the top. That's going to go to the big businesses, but it's going to help to stimulate. It's going to help to drive the entire economy. To come to a compromise between the Democrats and the Republicans, some politicians are now suggesting that they pass a bill with a lower income cap in order to qualify for the third round of stimulus checks. Some politicians believe by lowering the income limit, this would ensure that the stimulus checks go to people who actually need it and would actually spend the money on necessities in order to actually stimulate or drive the economy and in order for other small businesses to continue to survive through these difficult times of the pandemic. Additionally, the lower cost of the stimulus check program will be something that is more incentivizing to the Republicans who do not want to sign off on a very, very expensive bill, as we've seen in December with the passing of the $2,000 stimulus checks and the proposals. They were very, very much against that. They wanted a bill that was much more targeted, a bill that wasn't that expensive, a bill that was effective in stimulating the economy. One of the reasons that the Republicans blocked the standalone bill, like I said in December, was because the $464 billion bill was just too expensive. By lowering the bill, by lowering the income limits, they will be able to make this bill cheaper. They will make the program cheaper. And that will attract, like I said, more Republicans to actually vote and pass the package. Keep in mind, 60 votes will be required in the Senate in order for the third round of stimulus check to be passed. If the Senate fails to get the 60 votes, what's the next plan? Well, then the Senate Democrats must use the reconciliation in order to pass the vote with a simple majority of 51 votes. However, keep in mind, Congress can only pass 3 reconciliation bills each year. The Democrats may look to save those reconciliation bills for tax reforms, for climate change, for other environmental efforts, and for things that Republicans would not support at all. Thus, the Democrats are trying to work very, very closely to get the Republicans to vote, to get them to that necessary 60 senators in order to pass the third round of stimulus. We do know that there are 5 Republican senators that openly support the $2,000 stimulus checks. The Democrats believe that they can get the necessary 10 Republican senators on board. But if some of the Democratic senators oppose the third round of stimulus check, that does mean that there will have to be a larger number of Republican senators who must be on board in order for the passage to pass, making it a lot harder for the bill to pass with each Democratic senator that votes against the third stimulus check. Joe Biden said that he will provide more details about the stimulus package tomorrow on Thursday. This will include more information about the third round of stimulus checks, federal unemployment benefits, things like rental assistance, mortgage forbearance, things like food assistance, and many other programs. Biden promised that the impeachment hearings will not affect the Senate's ability to work on the stimulus package. Last night, Vice President Mike Pence told Nancy Pelosi that he will not, I repeat, he will not be in fact invoking the 25th Amendment in order to remove President Trump from office as a result of his current state of being. Pence stated that he believes that the 25th Amendment is only for presidential incapacity or disability, and ensured that there would be an orderly transition of power on January 20th. However, Pelosi has followed through with her threats of impeaching President Trump from office. The articles of impeachment was presented today in the House floor and passed upon. Even some of the Republicans are growing closer and closer to this idea of impeaching President Trump, and they are taking this more and more into consideration. However, as we all know, a majority of the Republicans still do believe that the impeachment process is merely a waste of time and a waste of resources, but others want to see Trump being impeached. The final vote in the House was 232 to 197, with 10 Republicans joining 222 Democrats in supporting a single article of impeachment charging the president of incitement of insurrection. Pelosi went on to state, "We know that the President of the United States incited this insurrection, this armed rebellion against the common country." She went on to state that he must go, period. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love. President Trump was first impeached on December 2019 for his efforts to pressure Ukraine to investigate the Biden family. Only 2 other presidents in the entire history have been impeached since the founding of the Republic. So this is a big deal, okay? Only 2 in the history before President Trump, only 2 presidents have been impeached. And already President Trump is the first president in history to be impeached twice. Republican Representative Liz Cheney announced that she wanted President Donald Trump to be impeached. The first serious signs of a blowback since she made her position in public. Less than 24 hours after Cheney said that she would vote to remove President Trump from office for his role in the deadly Capitol riots, some of the president's closest allies are now taking steps to remove her from her leadership position. She went on to state that the president has summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit flame of the attack. None of this would have happened without the president. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is also furious with President Trump and wants to cut off any ties with Trump and his party. But he insists that no impeachment hearings can continue until the Senate returns from the vacation on January 19th. According to Mitch McConnell, opening the Senate early from vacation does require unanimous consent from every single senator, which is very unlikely. However, Chuck Schumer says that there has been previously passed legislation that allows the Senate leader to reconvene the Senate for emergency purposes. Schumer goes on to say that removing President Donald Trump from office is a national emergency, and he is accusing McConnell of purposely deciding not to call back the Senate. President Trump did speak about the riots at Capitol Hill in Texas, saying that he was against violence and he did not directly address the rioters. Instead, he accused the Democrats for causing immense danger by proceeding forward with the impeachment proceedings, implying that that would create a lot more violence. President Trump continues his claims against big tech companies, as I showed you guys yesterday in the video, stating that they have made a huge mistake by taking him off their platforms. Hopefully you guys all learned something new and enjoyed the video. I thank you all so much for your continued support. I do appreciate it tremendously. Make sure to drop a like down below. It does help my channel out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on those post notifications so that way you're aware of when I do upload my next video. Comment down below. Till next time. Peace.